to Leafs prospects are game-changing for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season, as well as Captain John Tavares takes two rookies under his wing. We'll break all this down coming up for you on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into that, we just want to say, if you're one of the thousands of people watching that aren't subscribed, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, because me and Mark will be here all season long, keeping you up to date on what's happening around the league. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic of the video here, and that is JT has some new babysitters. And as we take a look at a tweet from David Alter, he says, obviously, that Mitten and Nas have been staying with the Tavares family, and Tavares has said that it's been great. Instead of getting babysitters, I'm just getting guys from the team. I think that's an all-time quote there, obviously. And he goes on to say in an article that, for me to come full circle in a way, it's great. And for Fraser, just trying to figure out his living situation and getting him out of the hotel, he and Nazi have really kicked it off, playing together and spending time with one another, and my boys love it. And obviously, Mark, we have seen this change with Minton and Nas on the ice as well. Obviously, I think it's just such a great act of kindness for John Tavares to take both of these younger guys in, kind of get them into a family setting outside the rink.
Yeah, the big thing is you get these two guys, they're coming to a city that they're not used to. They're away from family for probably the first time in a while. So you get these guys in a house with Tavares, you get the leadership Tavares brings. It just shows with the situation like this, just bringing them in, taking them under the wing. And the big thing is just building the chemistry on and off the ice. Obviously, these guys travel a lot, they practice every day, they're playing games together. But when you're not at the rink, there's a different kind of chemistry you're building. These guys like Nyes and Mitten, we're seeing their line looking great and they're gelling well. And you got to think this has something to do with it. And you also look at Tavares, he's one of the league's best. He's a guy that's been around for a while. He's been a captain of two teams. So just having him in your life, not just in the rink, like I said, but just out of it and just learning his routines, not at the stadium, it's just huge for development for guys like this too.
Yeah, definitely. And John Tavares has such a wealth of knowledge for the game of hockey. He's been in the league for so many years. So when you're just coming into the NHL and just getting your feet wet in the NHL, it's nice to have this guy kind of in your corner, helping you out when maybe you need some advice on your game, what you can do to play a better game, how to adjust to playing. Because I know that Nice has said that he has had trouble adjusting to the NHL speed, and everybody has such high hockey sense. But I really do think living with a guy like John Tavares will really help them out, and I really think this line is really going to get jump started now with Domi down on that line as well.
And the big thing is you said like the skating where Nyes wanted to improve his skating. You've seen Tavares ever since we've seen him when he was a rookie. He was never the fastest skater. But when you look at him as overall skater, he's one of the best. And by that I mean he's strong on his skates, he takes long strides, and he just knows how to work without the full speed of a guy like McDavid. So in the sense, if you look at Nyes, this is the perfect guy to kind of mentor, let him learn what he does out of the rink, in the rink. And just overall, if this can help Nyes develop to just be a stronger skater and be half the leader Tavares is, it's just a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, definitely had to agree with you there. And obviously, we really look forward to seeing this line in action because we really want them to pass this 9 games. Because this is just an exciting, fun line to watch as well. And I know with Tavares' help, I know these guys can really jumpstart their season and it's going to be fun to watch. But we're going to get into our next topic of the video here. And that is Bobby McMann has a hot start. And I know in the past, me and Mark have been really high on Bobby McMann. But through the first 2 games of the AHL with the Marlies, Bobby McMann has 2 goals and 1 assist. And obviously, I'm just going to show you this here now. He had a doozy of a goal the other night on the power play, a tic-tac-toe, and he ripped it top corner there. Obviously, Bobby McMann is off to a hot start. He's off to the races in the AHL, and I really do think that we could see this guy maybe get called up throughout the season because he's looking phenomenal right now.
This is one of the guys I was really surprised that cleared waivers. Obviously, the big shock was Martin Jones clearing, but Bobby McMann, at just the age of 26, we're seeing what he can do. Last year in the AHL, he looked phenomenal. He looked great the previous year, and training camp this year, he did come off an injury, so he wasn't really playing at full strength, and we didn't see him in any action. But overall, it's a young guy and a cheap cap hit. And I'm really surprised the team didn't take a swing. Having this guy that we can send up to the AHL or to the NHL and then back to the minors, I think this is a win for Toronto. And I think it's just a matter of time within a injury or maybe someone getting a rest day that we do see Bobby McMann called up and just see him show his talent at the NHL level.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. Because I think if he wasn't dealing with a little bit of an injury there during preseason and into training camp, I really do think that this guy would have cracked the roster because he's such a great player, has a phenomenal shot, and I just can't wait to see him maybe get a shot on that fourth line with Revo and Kempf.
I think it's the type of situation you'd almost maybe see him on the third. Say a guy like Mitten sent down. We keep kind of talking about this. We have this 9 game sample size of him. But overall, I could see this guy being plug and played in the middle six. He has a great shot. He showed some good offense. He's a guy that can kind of throw his weight around too. So he doesn't come up to the NHL and just get thrown around. Obviously, he's not the biggest body. He's not going to put bone crushing hits on the boards. But overall, he can hold his own. He can score. And I think it'd be interesting kind of getting him in with a guy like maybe Tavares and Nylander, or maybe even like Domi and Nyes.
Yeah, that would be such a great combo for him. I think this guy has such a good game, and he has such high hockey sense as well that when he's called up to the NHL, I think he's going to shock a lot of people, and I think he'll stay there for the long haul.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think it's just a matter of time where he gets called up, we see him play, and I think he's going to really impress management.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys aren't watching the Marlies hockey, what are you doing? You got to watch it because some of these guys are having phenomenal seasons. And these are the guys that you might see come up throughout the season. So I really anticipate if you're not at nothing, turn on a Marlies game. And speaking of the Marlies, we got Nick Robertson is playing unreal right now. And obviously, Nick Robertson is a household name in Toronto now. He's leading the Toronto Marlies in points through 2 games. He has 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists with 11 shots on goal. And he has 2 power play assists as well. Obviously, Mark, this is a guy who me and you have been talking about for a while. We really do think that this guy should be up in the NHL at some point this season. I think a guy like this, I think he's due for a breakout if he gets a shot up in the NHL.
The big thing is, I feel like this is almost a thing that happens every year. Nick Robinson looks amazing. The injury does happen and it kind of derails him. But the thing is, every time we see Nick Robertson be on the ice, if that's NHL, AHL, or when he was in the juniors, he dominates. He looks incredible. His shot looks amazing. I know I go back to this quote a lot, but we heard a quote from Matthews, I believe it was last season, say that Nick Robertson has the best shot on the team. That's coming from a guy where in a down year he scored 40 goals. He had a 60-goal season and currently has 6 goals going into game 3. So when you look at Matthew saying this about this type of player, it's just a matter of time before he makes it. I know everyone's talking about Jason Robertson in Dallas, but I don't think Nick's that far off. I think it's just a matter of him staying healthy, making the lineup, and just consistently staying in this lineup without kind of getting bumped out for a guy, bumped out to an injury, or just sent down. So I think once we get a full-time Nick Robertson, if we get a healthy season, I think this is going to be a lethal guy. I could see him scoring 20 to 30 goals in his first year, depending if he plays top six or bottom six. But I wouldn't want him kind of stashed on the fourth line. This is the type of guy I want on our offense lines, maybe put him in the top six, like I said, or in the middle six, but not the fourth line.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think this guy has one of the best shots I've seen in a long time. And like you said, if he's anything like his brother Jason Robinson, this guy's going to be a hell of a hockey player. But you did talk about his shot, and we're actually going to take a look at his goal he scored the other night. He comes in here, it's a beautiful shot. He gets a pass, and he just rips it bar down past the keeper there. He has such a great shot. It's so lethal. The power he gets off his wrist shots is unbelievable. This guy is surprising a lot of goaltenders when he gets a shot in the lineup, and I can't wait to see Nick Robertson up in a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey this year because I think this guy could really add some offense to a Toronto team that already has a lot of offense. I think they scored 7 goals the other night. Maybe with Nick Robertson they could score more. I just think this is such a talented team this year, and there's so many of these great players down the AHL that if they need to be called up, they can come up and they can play phenomenal. But I do really think that these two prospects we're talking about here, Bobby McMann and Nick Robertson, are definitely game changing for the Leafs this year. Because, like we've seen in previous years, some people deal with injuries midway through season. Some people need rest days, like you've mentioned earlier. And when you have 2 or 3 guys down there that can kind of step up on any given night, come up and prove that they belong with the big club, I think this was so huge for the Leafs organization, and I really hope we get to see these guys get a shot this year.
Yeah, it's like you said, you kind of have these guys down there. The big thing is too, the Leafs have so much talent. You look at the top two lines. Even if you look at the third line of guys like Nyes, Domi, Minton, say we lost Minton down to the juniors again and we lose a guy to an injury. You call a couple of these guys out and you fill out the lineup. They're not looking like, oh, it's just, putting them in and they're going to play terribly. You see a guy like Nick Robertson, I think he would flourish with a guy like Domi, a guy that's been a prolific, just playmaker in the league, a guy that we've seen that could put up 50 assists. So if you put a guy like this along with a guy that has this insane shot and a guy like Bobby McMann or Nick Robertson, I think that'd work perfectly.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. But we want to hear from you guys. What do you think? What are your guys' thoughts on Nick Robertson and Bobby McMann? We'd like to hear from you down in the comment section below as we get into everybody's favorite topic here. And of course, that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy Patrick G Mafia. He says Domi on line 3 is smart. Reeves is accepted from the team after getting that belt. Great idea for Matthews. Great show, fellas. 3-0. Let's get her done. Go Leafs, go. Shout out to you, Patrick G, day one supporter for us here on the channel. We always like showcasing our loyal supporters here, and Patrick G has been one of those, and I know there's a few more who've been there as well. But shout out to you, Patrick G. We always love seeing you down below. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, so we really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And like we said, let us know down in the comment section what are your whole thoughts on Nick Robertson and Bobby McMann, and let us know what you think of Tavares taking these guys under their wing. You might be featured on the next comment of the day. And if you enjoy the Leafs, make sure to watch this video, pop it up on your screen right now. But I've been KC alongside my co-host Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.